Mrs. Whitman. So nice to see you. Are you here to see Fred? He's in the parlor, and come right this way.
Mary, thank you for letting Mrs. E.B. in. Would you please join me?
Yes, I'd love to, Fred. It's
And
so
would you like this
so
chair?
nice
With
of you
this,
to see me. Yes, that would be good. That looks very comfortable.
And how are your boys?
They're fine, and I hope you and Mary and Elizabeth are doing fine.
Elizabeth has chosen a gentleman that really chooses to smoke cigars and do nothing. But I will make do with him.
I'm sure that you
Anyway.
will. And she'll be happy because I think I know which gentleman you're talking about.
Yes.
He's quite the catch.
What can I do
Well,
for you
Mr.
this
Stine,
evening?
yes, all right, I'm here. We all know that we're in an election season, and we'll probably have had enough of the talk about that, but because of that, I want to talk to you about women's suffrage.
Woman. Oh, okay. I'll be calm.
All right, this has been something that I've been thinking of since, you'll recall, about 10 years ago, when the Legislative Assembly met to try to draw up a constitution for the new state of Washington.
You did very well.
Didn't happen, but you remember that that happened. And you probably also remember that a letter was circulated that was signed by almost 100 people from Walla Walla, some of the leading citizens and the merchants, and that was asking
I remember
those
it well.
people to include women's suffrage as part of the Constitution, the new proposed Constitution, and you declined to sign, didn't you?
Absolutely, I did.
Yes, you did. And at that time, I vowed that I was going to continue to talk to you about that issue because I believe, as I look at your gray hairs and the greater wisdom that probably goes with them, I believe that perhaps you will discover that you also believe in women's suffrage, and so we're going to work on that. Is that all right? Let's just talk. You don't have to commit.
Mrs. Eby, I hate to tell you,
All right.
but most of those gentlemen
Yes.
that were interested in signing this letter that was presented to the Washington Territorial Legislature, they were only interested in one thing. They wanted to get more people on the ballot to have some effect with the export tariff that we have going on here in the territory and across the nation. But all those gentlemen, they just wanted to get their wives in there. They wanted to get more votes on the table to reject that tariff. And I see no reason for it. The tariff was not under any way affecting my business venture in the wheat industry, or was it affecting what went on at the small brothers running my establishment. It didn't affect the livestock ventures. So I did not sign that because it wasn't beneficial to me.
Well, Mr. Stine, I can hear you say that, but this isn't 10 years ago. This is 88. We're talking about a presidential election year right now. We're talking about the possibility that Washington is going to become a state, and we're going to have another constitution written, and we need to have women's suffrage part of it. Women need to be part of the decision.
It was 99 years ago, 99 years ago, that we received the Bill of Rights, okay? And the First Amendment to that Bill of Rights gives any petitioner the right to petition the grievances to the Congress. And you've been doing that for 99 years, and you haven't got any place yet. And so then you come to me saying I should change my mind?
We need to have as many votes as we can have. Frankly, I think that women will be voting regardless of what you say before too long. So I want to save your righteousness and your humanity, and I want you and me to talk about what reasons besides the tariff, because I don't think that's fundamentally what the reason is. Because I don't know that the women would necessarily disagree with you on a particular issue. I think it's something much deeper than a particular issue that's causing this, and I want us to talk about that and to understand why you feel that women can't do just as good a job as men in helping to decide what kind of government they're going to have and what the rules are going to be.
DB and I
Yes.
have worked for 25 years. We have worked on law and order.
Yes.
Law and order right here in our community. We've worked in law and order within the legislature of our territory. And there is no female emotion that is going to serve on a jury when we have criminal cases. If we get light-hearted ladies serving on a jury in a criminal case, we will not be able to convict and execute criminals. You are way too soft-hearted.
Not sure about that. I think that particularly women are often the victims of crime. And if a woman is the victim of crime, why shouldn't there be a woman on a jury to help decide whether or not someone is guilty or not of doing something bad to her? That's part of it. But the other part is, I think that we women are just as concerned about law and order as men are.
But you don't have the emotions.
I have to disagree with you about that. Which emotions are they? That you feel that you're more emotional, more vindictive than women would be, and therefore
We can come
you
to
should
a
make the
conclusion
decisions?
without the emotional effects of humanity. Yes, we can come to a conclusion.
Well, all right, so you're concerned that if we vote, we'll be on juries, and you don't like
Absolutely.
that idea?
Absolutely.
All right. And you feel that the problem is that women are too emotional to be on juries.
Absolutely.
And you, who were raising your voice, of course, are not too emotional to be on a jury, right?
No,
You're
but we
dispassionate
can-
about this and willing to look only at the facts and not take strength from the fact that you're willing to execute
Mrs.
someone.
E.B. Whitman,
Yes, sir.
are you disappointed with the decisions that your husband has made for you in your home and in your lifestyle here in Walla Walla? Do you want to go back and recorrect and fix decisions that he has made for you and himself?
Mr. Whitman and I talk about things, and we actually get along pretty well. He doesn't make all the decisions in our household. We talk about things and we work about them together. And I understand that households run differently, and that's fine, and that's not a problem for me, but I'm having a hard time understanding why you believe that a woman can't, first of all, be a partner with a man. Wasn't that why Eve was created? To be a partner?
To be a partner?
To be a helpmeet with Adam. Not for Adam to make all the rules, but because he needed someone to work with.
You know, there are times in this discussion that I believe that you are advocating that you need to have this right to vote and to serve on juries, and that you think that you need to go into the workplace to be better informed on decisions so you will know how to vote or serve on a jury, and that you really have a desire to leave the home and go into the workforce. Is this something that you are thinking about so you'll be better prepared for your voting?
Well, you have to remember that Elias was in California and here in the Washington Territory for 12 years and left me with the two boys back in Massachusetts. So in fact, I did make decisions for our household. And I think I did adequately to do that. That doesn't mean that when we're together again, that we didn't make decisions.
But E.B. has always told me that he sent you home more than enough gold, more than enough to take care of the children, more than enough to keep them in schools, keep them clothed, that he took care of you even though he might have been outside the home for 12 years.
Yes, but decisions are made day to day. The kinds of decisions you're talking about in a household, those things come up. Someone gets sick, someone isn't doing well in school or getting into fights. All those kinds of things aren't taken care of by gold sent from California. So we both needed to work at that. But
Did you work outside the home then?
No. But and I've heard people say that. I believe that when Susan B. Anthony came to Walla Walla, when she came here in '71, I remember an editorial in, I think it was the Statesman, I can't remember, but criticizing her for suggesting that women contributed in any financial way to a household. Because after all, the men paid all the bills. But you must remember that if there weren't the wife there and still all the same tasks had to be done, then those would have to be paid for. It's simply that we're not getting paid to do those things, but we certainly are contributing to the finances of the household, because otherwise you would have to pay someone else to do those things.
Don't you believe in the arts?
You know,
What do you think about the arts? The arts that all children should have.
Yes,
Do you believe in the arts?
yes I do.
What about the art of tatting? What about the art of crocheting? Or doing some simple embroidering? Are you into knitting or sewing or food prep? Are you interested in canning?
I do all those things. I do all those things.
But
And
if you leave the
imagine-
home, those gifts will be permanently lost.
First of all, I'm not going to be leaving the home anytime soon. I'm no longer young enough to be wanting to start out on some other new path. But I guess I'm not clear how that is connected with voting. I'm not sure that voting is something that's going to lead to women leaving our homes. I'm not sure. Again, you're concerned with the capacity of, I mean, we're all people. I'll tell you what I like. What I liked very much. Susan B. Anthony, you may have read this in the paper. I remember it was before she came out here. She voted for president back in, I don't remember if she was in Massachusetts or somewhere in New England. She voted for president, and she was caught, and she was fined, and she made a speech. And what she said in that speech was, the Constitution of the United States says, we the people. It does not say, and these are her words, the white male people. It says, we the people. And she said, particularly with the 14th Amendment after the Civil War, she said, you may not say that a woman cannot have the same rights as men just because she's a woman, that's no longer allowed, and therefore all the laws that are made and are being enforced without women's votes are null and void. Isn't that an interesting perspective? And that's not the
I
perspective
think
of
there is
someone.
an interesting perspective
That's
there.
not a perspective of someone who's too emotional to be making important decisions. That's a decision of someone.
But right along with voting and jury duty is the ownership of property.
Yes.
Are you advocating that women can now leave their husbands and take a portion of the property with them as they go?
I'm actually not thinking about those kinds of things, although I do think that, that it's appropriate for women to be able to earn, to have property of their own that's passed down to them perhaps from their families. Why shouldn't women have some money as well?
Because
Property.
women are taken from the rib of a man, and we are to protect you and take care of you. We are to open the door. We are to love you, and we are to provide for you. You do not need any of the things you're talking about because we are providing them for you at this time.
That's very good of you. That's very kind of you. And how are your ribs?
How are my ribs?
Yes.
My rib is
How do they
doing
feel? Do
fine.
you feel?
And Mary
You don't miss that
enjoys me being head of the household.
Does she? All right. That sounds very fine. But I'd like to suggest that let's think of it this way. This year is an election year, you know that. And you are not going to be able to vote for president.
Because we're not a statehood yet.
Because we're not a state.
We will
and
be
there
a
are no
statehood.
electors. I know that, but you will not be able to make this decision. How does that make you feel?
I have no problem with it at all, because I've been very active in all the Constitutional Convention. We're going to have another one next spring, and we will write the reported Constitution that will be ratified by the people of the territory. When the public ratifies that, then we will become a state. And you have
Congress.
every right to be at that Constitutional Convention and do everything possible to have women's rights included. But you know, I have to disagree with you. I just have to disagree that the women of our territory should be very comfortable with the men that have conquered and brought civilization to this part. We have the First Symphony here in Walla Walla. We have the best schools. Whitman College is now open, teaching. It's no more just a seminary. It's a college. We've got electric lights. We've got new telephones just coming this year. We got telegraph service. We have provided very well for our families here.
Well, of course you know, with regard to property, I'm thinking about some of the widows who are now running businesses in town. Mrs. Stahl, for example. There are women who are now running the businesses because, unfortunately, their husband died. What should they have done?
What should they have done?
Yes, what should they have done?
They will have a young man in the household that will come up and take their father's place, and she will teach him wisely, and then he will be a businessman in her father's right. Okay?
Well, I have to say that I think that you see examples in the city of women who are in fact having businesses. They're in fact running their own households off, usually not by choice. Widows are usually not widows by choice. And so...
But you know, Mary, Mary
yes,
was a widowed woman when I married her.
yes.
And she has done very well by marrying a man who would choose to take care of her.
Well, I think, Laurie, I think that it's wonderful that you're taking care of her, and if that's what is satisfactory for her, that's fine. But there are a lot of us who believe that women have minds, we have a capacity to make decisions that are good decisions.
In the home.
And not only in the home, but
In the home.
in the community that we live in. You're happy to have women working on on libraries and symphonies and things like that, as long as.
They do a
as long
wonderful
as they
job.
can. Yes,
They're wonderful teachers of our children.
that's right. And why?
We have them
say-
in the public school.
Right, and so why aren't they able to make decisions? We know they can make decisions.
We choose them. Every year, all of our school teachers go through a very exclusive interview and rehearsal of all their knowledge. If they are not improving, or if they have facts, we
School board, you're saying,
yes,
yes, which is all made of men.
that's
Is
correct.
that correct? Yes, all right. Well, I don't know, I had more hope for you. I have to admit, when I came, I really thought that as you sat here feeling what it was like to have an important decision being made at the national level, and you're not being able to participate in it, that might make you have a little bit of understanding of what it's like to be a person with opinions and with decisions that they want to be involved in, who aren't able to make those decisions.
When we
And
make
I see it didn't
statehood in
work
4
that way.
years, I'll be
Yes.
voting.
And will you be voting for women's suffrage?
No.
All right. Well,
Thank
that's
you.
a shame. That is a shame. All right. Well, we're just going to have to disagree on this.
I assume
I'm
so.
sorry, but I hope that we will be able in years to come to look down, because I know you are going, if we both end up where we can look down instead of looking up, and I'm not sure about that for both of us, I'm hoping that
We're
you
gonna share
will
in the
see-
same decision, huh?
that you're going to see that women are going to be voting, and that all the terrible things that you're concerned about are not going to happen. That the world is going to be just
Let's
as
hope
good
so.
with women, and it might be better. It might even be better,
Thank you.
but we'll see. Well, thank you for having me, Mr. Stine. I'm sorry that I thought I was going to be much more silver-tongued and that I was going to be able to persuade you, but it looks as if I'm not going to. You're
You're welcome.
consistent. You are consistent.
May I escort you to the door?
Thank you. You may do that. Please say hello again to Mary and thank her for allowing us to have
Thank
our
you for coming.
conversation. All right. Goodbye. Mr. Stein.
Well, good evening, Mrs. Whitman.
Good evening, sir. In the privacy of the ballot box, did you vote for the good thing?
I might have,
All right.
just for you.
I hope so.